Chrissy, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be giving you a bit of an update about my pregnancy. I am currently 36 weeks pregnant, which means I'm less than a month away from my due date, which is scary, but even scarier because probably baby boy is going to be showing up even sooner than we planned. And you'll find out why very soon. Last week was a very intense week. I had a false alarm, I had a bit of a scare, and it's just been a lot to take on mentally and physically, and so much has been going on, and I thought I'd come and share it with you guys because I can. I wanted to share my pregnancy experience and, you know, just kind of share my story with everyone, and I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. I want to be as real as possible and tell you, you know, all the highs and lows. I've already told you some of them so far, and I thought, why not tell you guys what's been going on? So yeah, that's that. Before I get into it, just want to remind you to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and send this to anyone who might find it interesting or useful or, I don't know, entertaining. I suppose. So let me tell you what went down last week. On Monday I woke up with a plan, but the baby had different plans. I woke up with a very dull aching pain on my side. Like it felt like period pains. Now for those of you women who get the same kind of period pains that I get, when I'm on my period, I can feel when a blood clot is coming out, and, you know, I kind of feel everything that's happening down there. And this pain was not like any pain that I'd had throughout the pregnancy so far. Like, I've had some Braxton Hicks contractions and this didn't feel anything like them. It was a constant pain, and I just kept on expecting to find blood. Like, I kept on going to the toilet because I was expecting to find blood, and I couldn't walk properly, I couldn't really move. It was a real aching pain, and aside from the fact that it was painful, I had this really bad feeling about it. I just didn't like the pain, and so I tried to distract myself, I tried to just get things done, but I just, you know, my gut kept on telling me, call the hospital, call the hospital, call the hospital. So eventually I did, and the midwives were lovely, and the one that I spoke to told me, like, listen, come to hospital. She said, it sounds like you might have a bladder infection. She said, which can be very painful and can even feel like labor. She told me, if nothing else, at least you'd put your mind at rest and know that everything is fine. So I said, okay, let me do that. Now, I didn't want to tell anyone in my family because that morning we had already found out that that a family member was in hospital, and I didn't want to worry anyone unnecessarily just in case this was nothing, and I didn't want to tell anyone from Chris's side of the family either, not to worry them, you know, for no reason. But the fun part is that Chris works in 𝚠𝚠𝚘𝚗𝚘, so it's not like it's a 5-minute drive for him to come and get me. I was contemplating going by myself and not telling anyone. I was like, Chrissy, you're being so stupid, you can barely walk, how are you going to drive to the hospital? So anyway, I called Chris and he was like, I'm getting the next boat down. He got the boat, and another fun part of the story, this silly woman hadn't packed her hospital bags yet. I had everything ready, cleaned and folded and organized, and I had the bags set. I just didn't have anything in the bags. So I had this hour, basically, within the time that Chris was on his way back from 𝚠𝚠𝚘, to pack my hospital bags and get myself in order, just in case. So I did that. I got my list, plodded along, managed everything in good time, and I was like, let's not take the bags with us. And Chris said, we're taking the bags just in case. I was like, oh, I'm not in labor, it's fine, I know we don't need it. He said, let's get the bags just in case. It's better that we have them and don't need them than need them and don't have them. Fair enough. So we took the bags with us, left Billy at home, and we made our way to the hospital. A side note, I was kind of happy in a way that this happened because it was a really good test run. We got to know where we needed to go, who we needed to call, you know, it was just a really good test run, and I'm glad that we had a reason to go, because if we didn't, we might be much more stressed when it actually does happen. But anyway, so that was like a good side of it. We got to the hospital, and thankfully Chris could come in with me. They tested my urine, and that was fine, and so they strapped me up to some monitors, which I'd never been on before, and they gave me this clicking thing, and they're like, okay, every time you feel the baby moving, just give it a click, and we'll come and see you a bit later on. So that was all that I knew. I didn't really know what the monitors were monitoring, and I just gave it a click every time I felt the baby moving. They left us for about 45 minutes. Within that time, the pain had not subsided, but every now and then it was getting really, really bad. And it was always on the right, and I'd feel it going down my leg. It was just a very intense, dull pain. And every now and then it would get worse, which in hindsight, I should have realized what that might mean. Anyway, and Chris, every time the pain got bad, Chris would be like, let me go call the nurse. He'd be like, no, it's okay, they're coming soon. Like, let me go call the nurse. No, it's okay, they're coming soon. After about 45-50 minutes, they came back. They came back in, and the doctor just goes, have you been feeling these contractions? I'm like, oh, that's what those were. Good to know. So basically, I was having regular contractions. They were coming in every 10 minutes, and they were very, very intense. I wasn't in a ridiculous amount of pain, but the pain was very significant. Anyway, and so the midwife at that point was like, it's very common to get Braxton Hicks at this point. So probably we'll give you some paracetamol, tell you to go home, drink some water, and see how things progress. But before we do that, we're just going to get in another doctor to check some things, and then we'll take it from there. So my mind's at rest. I'm like, okay, interesting. You know, even though I'd had Braxton Hicks contractions before, maybe these were just different ones. And anyway, so they went out again. After a few minutes, the same doctor comes in with another doctor, and they examine my cervix, which is so much fun. You just have to lose all sense of dignity when, I think as a woman, you just have to lose all sense of dignity at all, especially in these situations. So yes, that happened, and everything was still intact. My water hadn't broken, my mucus plug was still perfectly intact, everything was where it should be, you know, packed in nice and tight. And so I thought, okay, great, they're going to discharge me, they're going to send me home, give me Panadols, and call it a day. They went out, came back in again after a few minutes, and the doctor goes, so basically, it could be that you're having Braxton Hicks contractions, but it could be that you're having real labor contractions. Either way, because the pain was in your leg, it was a different pain, and they're coming regularly every 10 minutes, we cannot exclude the possibility that you might go into labor within the next few hours or by tomorrow. So we're gonna keep you overnight. And at that point, all the calm in my body disappeared. I freaked out. I kept myself composed for a few more minutes up until they came and put the catheter in and put me on the drip, because then I started crying and I didn't stop for hours. So then I was officially admitted to hospital. I knew that Chris couldn't stay with me, didn't know what was happening, what was going to happen. I was very anxious, very upset, and just a ball of emotion. It wasn't fun, it was quite intense. And anyway, so they swabbed us to check for COVID, and then they took me into a room by myself. I was isolated, obviously, because my result hadn't come out yet. And so by the time this happened, it was about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So from 4 o'clock onwards, I was by myself all evening. And I went through all the emotions. Basically, I spent pretty much the entire time on video calls with my family, crying for the most part. I was a bit of a mess, and yeah, that was that.
I'm just here with this sad pillow, feeling very sorry for myself. And I'm scared, and I'm anxious, and I don't know what's happening. And I wish Chris could be here. At least I'm in a room alone. And I'm glad I packed my things. And I just feel a little bit defeated, and I don't even know.
Here is my dinner. Some yummy potatoes and chicken and some kind of soup. Oh, nice. I mean, it smells really good. And I have some water. Thank God.
I'm about to eat. I don't know how. It's a bit hard. I can't really move my hand. But anyway, I have to kind of figure this out. I mean, it smells really good. Oh, nice. This is the best thing about my visit here so far. That's really nice. Could do with ketchup, not gonna lie. This is good. I'm starving. I didn't have lunch. So this is very much welcome right now. Let's try the soup. Maybe not with this hand. Nice and nutritious, eh? So it's almost 8 o'clock. I'm still in the same room. And I've been crying on and off, which is why my face looks like this. My brother and his girlfriend just got me some snacks because I asked for some snacks because I'm hungry, and they just sent over these they sent over a bunch of snacks with little notes on them. I'm going to show you what they've written. I love you guys. Throughout the evening, the contractions essentially subsided. They were few and far between, and then at some point they just stopped completely. And at about 9:30 in the evening, I guess my COVID result came back as negative, and they took me into the ward where I was with another woman who snored all night. All night. Bless her soul, she was, also heavily pregnant. But my God, I didn't sleep well at all that night. So aside from everything that had gone on throughout the day, didn't sleep a wink. And then the next morning, they came, cut a long story short, next morning they came, strapped me up to the monitors again, had to wait a while to make sure that, because the baby wasn't moving, he's usually lazy in the morning. and they checked that everything was okay. Contractions were still happening, but not as regularly, so they weren't so worried. The doctors came, they explained that, listen, basically at this point I'm almost 35 weeks pregnant. If the baby is born, they won't even need to intervene, like they won't need to try and slow it down. He is fully developed, he is fine, everything is healthy, and at this point, if it had to happen, it's okay. So they put my mind at rest, sent me home, and I couldn't have been happier to go home and to still be pregnant, basically. So that was Monday and Tuesday. On Wednesday I was okay, some contractions, but again, I wasn't really worried about anything at that point. And then on Thursday I had my private appointment where I was meant to have my last final ultrasound. We're about to go in to get our last ultrasound before he shows up. Last time we get to see him in my belly. It's crazy how quick the time has gone by. It turned out to not be my last ultrasound, because upon examining him, he is about 2 weeks too small. It's nothing alarming, because so far, you know, in all the other scans, he's shown that he's been progressing just fine. But basically what the gynecologist told me was that it could be that he stopped growing, and if he stopped growing, it means he's ready to come out. So it really does mean that he could be here any day now. So I have a checkup again in hospital, and then another ultrasound to check if he's growing at all. I've been instructed to rest as much as possible. I had already been told to rest about 3 weeks before this all happened, so you know, it's just been a lot. But they put my mind at rest, and they checked that the flow through the umbilical cord from the placenta, everything is running smoothly, so it's not like he's not getting the nutrition he needs. It's just literally the case where I need to rest as much as possible, and if he's not growing anymore at this point, he needs to come out. So there's a chance that next week I'm gonna have him in my hands. You know, I don't know. It's nerve-wracking. It's very intense. Every day, I just think, oh my god, it's happening. Like there's always something that happens where I'm like, oh my god, this is it. I was a mess last week. Mentally, it was just one thing after another, and so much to take on. And you know, none of it is anything that I could control. Nothing is, you know, it's not in my hands really, and I've done everything that I could. Thank God it's been a really good, you know, healthy pregnancy in terms of the baby's health and mine. And I just really don't want there to be any complications at the last minute. There aren't, and I'm thankful for that, but obviously it's very stressful, and there's just so much on my mind, and I'm just living on edge now all the time, thinking, oh my god, is it gonna happen? So aside from the fact that I have to rest, I'm also a little bit paranoid and scared. Like I don't want to go anywhere or do anything, because I don't want to be alone, especially you know, if it does happen. But yeah, that's been pretty much everything that's gone on. That was all of last week. Imagine this cheeky boy is already screwing with me, and he's gonna come on his due date and just have left me feeling anxious for 8 weeks for nothing. I don't know. But I'm trying very hard to not be too caught up in it. I'm working very hard on keeping myself mentally healthy, physically healthy as much as possible. I can't move around much. I'm exhausted, plus I need to rest. So yeah, it's been weird. It's been a lot. I am excited and terrified in equal measure. I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know when it's gonna happen. These are not things that are in our hands. I can't plan. It's all up to him. Yeah. It's been a lot. So that's basically it, I suppose. I don't know where else I was gonna go with this video. I'm gonna end it here. Thank you for watching, if you have. If you're still here, hey, you're cool. I like you. Subscribe to my channel. And also follow me on Instagram and Facebook, but Instagram is where I post most of my regular updates. So many people already knew that things were going on in the pregnancy through Instagram. So follow me there, subscribe here, share this if you enjoyed it, and I will see you in my next video. Until next time, bye. Billy's asleep next to me, so you won't get to see him today.